Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about Port Adelaide's season this time, where it went wrong. Because they were doing pretty well. I mean, obviously, if we go back to round one, Port Adelaide, they smashed Fremantle, as you'd expect them to. So nothing going wrong there. Then they had an upset win over Sydney, which I did not predict would happen. So that was a big win for them. If it'll load. Yeah. So it was quite a close game up until late, wasn't it? Then they just beat the Lions. They really should have beaten the Lions by a lot more, because, I mean, they're the Lions and they're Port Adelaide. But at that point, they're top of the ladder. Everything's looking nice for them. And then they lost to Essendon and Geelong. So by round 5, they dropped down to 9th. Then they beat North and got smashed by the Eagles. So they're down at 11th. So they really needed their season to have a good upturn at this point, because, I mean, otherwise they were going to miss out on the finals at the current rate they were going at. So they then had that very close win. They were very lucky to beat Adelaide, to be honest. And yeah, they won that, and that kind of was the beginning of their resurgence. Because then they obviously just lost to Hawthorn, like, very close game that round. Like, yeah. Just beating them. Then obviously they smashed what was it called? They then beat the Tigers, which was big, because, I mean, they were only the second team to do so, on the third team to do so that year. And the Tigers had, and it's not like, and the Tigers had beat them at their home ground the year before, so it was pretty big for them. Then they smashed the Bulldogs and beat Melbourne, so by round 14, things were beginning to look up. Then they predictably beat Carlton and St Kilda, and at this point, they're one off top of the ladder. Everything's looking great. And then it all goes wrong. Like, they lose to Fremantle. You're not meant to do that. You're meant to beat Fremantle. Jeez, that was a low-scoring game. But then they lose to the Giants at home. So by round 18, things were already looking a little bit worrying, but they've still got a game and a half clear, so they're still looking okay. They then luckily rebound by beating the Bulldogs. And yeah, things are looking okay. They still got half a game safe. Then they've got the second showdown. Yeah, they just lose that. They maybe should have won that one, but I guess it's kind of evening out, because they were lucky to win the first one. Very lucky. But that's kind of the beginning of their collapse, because then they just lose to West Coast. They definitely should have beaten West Coast in that game. Definitely should have beaten West Coast, because I think West Coast scored 2 goals in the last minute or something ridiculous. Then that kind of is. That's that. They needed things to start going very right. So if they had won both those games, they would have been in third. Like, it's a big difference. Very big difference. Then round 22, they get smashed by Collingwood, and I think they kind of just realised by this point, oh my god, we're not going to make the finals, and they just gave up in their game against Essendon. Really, that first half was pathetic. They weren't trying. Essendon, they already knew that their season was done. Richmond had beaten the round before, but they just wanted to go at it on a higher note. Port Adelaide were just like, oh, how did it go wrong? And they didn't really try. So Port Adelaide probably should have made the top 4, I think, this year. Back in round 21, if they had won those 2 games there, they would have been equal on West Coast with points. They would have been on 56. Sure, they may have lost to Collingwood the next round and would have dropped a bit, but they would have been down in maybe 6th or something. I reckon they would have beaten Essendon in the final round if they were up there, though. I think it would have changed things, and they would have... Well, they should have beaten Fremantle, so they should have done a lot better. I reckon they should have come 5th, maybe. So that's roughly where they were. They just didn't deliver. So yeah, I reckon, unlike Adelaide, I think they might actually stay down. Or I think they might make... I'm not sure where they'll be. I think they might miss out on the finals in 2019. Yeah. I think things are looking a bit bad for Port Adelaide. But yeah, thanks for watching and stuff.